The stress of the current pandemic, along with stay-at-home orders, has a whole heck of a lot of us overeating. You know you're doing it, I'm doing it, everybody's doing it. While we've likely heard the expression the quarantine 15 and other memes going around, overeating regularly can negatively affect our health. Here are some tips for you now to curb that stress eating. Registered dietitian Jessica Spiro. Jessica, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Okay, let's talk about this, because people in response to stress, a lot of times we make those jokes about we get to that tub of ice cream and we go at it on the couch, but this is a real problem, stress eating.
Yeah, absolutely. So, not only do we have the stress of everything that's going on, but we're also cooped up at home without our typical stress outlets like going to the gym or meeting up with friends. So it makes sense that food may feel like the easiest way to comfort ourselves. There's actually a physiological component as well. So when we're stressed, we experience an increase in the hormone cortisol, which can lead to an increase in our appetite. And studies have actually found that the reason we turn to high-fat and sugary foods in particular is that they appear to suppress stress-related responses.
Oh, see, that's why I had that. See, I told my wife, can you stop buying the chocolatey ice cream with the fudge in it? And we bought some on Saturday, and look what we did yesterday, Jessica. We started to eat all that. Let's get to the tips. People need help. We have advice, yeah? So we have 5 tips. Let's get to the first one here. Give yourself grace. Explain.
Yes, so as I mentioned, it is a coping mechanism rather than a lack in willpower. So it's important that you don't get mad at yourself, beat yourself up over, when you maybe overate something because you're really stressed out. At the same time, it's important to also find some other coping mechanisms, some other healthier coping mechanisms. So I know last week you had on Deepak Chopra talking about meditation.
Yes.
Even something as simple as taking a few deep breaths can really help lower our cortisol levels.
Okay, number 2, you say eat regular meals. It's important because now people don't know what day it is, what month it is, what hour it is. Keeping that schedule of meals is critical.
Exactly. So many of us lack a real schedule right now, where we're working from home near our kitchens. So you want to plan a few regular balanced meals. It doesn't have to be complicated. Even a sandwich is a perfectly fine meal. You want to aim to include a protein and a fiber to stay nourished and avoid overeating throughout the day.
Okay, this one is difficult. Keep tempting foods out of sight. I mentioned the ice cream earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So out of sight, out of mind. There's actually been studies that look into when we keep foods in snack foods at the top pantry shelf versus at eye level, and they found that there was a reduction in eating those snack foods. There was actually also another interesting study that looked into office workers where they put a jar of candies in a clear jar versus an opaque one, and they found that those with the candies that were less visible ate 70 calories less per day.
Really?
So as much as you can, keeping it out of sight is a good idea.
Wow, okay, that's interesting. Okay, this is important always. Stay hydrated. Drink that water.
Yeah, so for some reason, being at home, it can be more difficult to remember to drink water. So even mild dehydration can make us feel like we're hungry when we're not. It can also trigger anxiety. So that obviously doesn't help with stress-related eating. So I recommend filling up a bottle of water just as you would if you were going to the office, and plan on refilling it once or twice throughout the day.
Okay, you say don't restrict. What does that mean?
Yes, so the last tip, and this is the most important, is don't restrict food to compensate if you did have a bad day and maybe you ate too many slices of pizza or cookies or whatever that food is. You don't want to restrict and then turn into a disordered eating pattern. It's best to just move on, go back to the normal way that you were eating before, and go back to that first tip, which is to be kind to yourself and know that this is an unprecedented level of stress, and to give yourself some grace.
Yeah, don't beat yourself up so much. We all tend to do that. Okay, lastly, what should we be eating? We're kind of talking about what not to do. What should we be eating? Give us some recommendations.
So, a lot of us may have stocked up on some of the frozen foods. So if you're going to the grocery store, getting some frozen vegetables, things that can last a long time, those are really easy, simple ways that you can throw into a dish. So that way you don't have to plan a lot and spend a lot of time prepping. And that way you can make it really easy, and also it lasts longer in the refrigerators or the freezer. So just plan on having balanced meals. So always think about incorporating some type of fiber, some type of protein, and that's going to help us stay nourished.
Really, really good advice, and we all need it. Jessica Spiro, registered dietitian, we thank you for taking the time this morning.
Thank you.
All right, for more information from Jessica, go to our website, fox5sandiego.com, and click that Seen on tab. Ms. Russo, important, because everybody's sitting there and trying to make comfort food. People are cooking at home more than ever.
Yes.
And then they got to eat that stuff you cook.
Right, because you don't want to waste anything.
Right.
And I will be honest, my pants were a little tight this morning when I was putting them on. I think I could eat. You know what my thing is? Those summer salt snacks, the salt and pepper summer salt snacks. I will eat those all day, every day, and you need to have more than that or something else,